one-size-fits-all for almost anything in life. So don't settle for a one-size-fits-all setup. Eliminate the frustration in building with an AI-powered personalized toolkit to boost you forward to victory. Optimize your setup and improve your performance over those cookie-cutter builds used by the rest of the pack. Vantage is iRacing.com's first AI setup builder. Save your time and give back to your personal life. Vantage takes any setup for any track and adjusts it specifically to your needs. Choose from over 100 cars for any paved circuit. A custom-tailored experience that's easy to understand and tested to fit any driver style. Subscriptions as low as $8.50 per month. And for a limited time, new members get a 7-day free trial with unlimited access to all Vantage has to offer. Let Orange Speed Vantage free you of the endless loop of testing and get you back on track to victory lane. Visit orangespeedvantage.ai to get started.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
Third!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes Zwack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
Welcome everyone tonight at the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, the inaugural season of the Overtake iRacing League's first race. I have confirmation that it's about to be a great race here at the new Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, and alongside me, our producer and co-commentator of the night, Morgan Cook. And Morgan, we saw a lot of names here on V-Speed prior to this moment, so we know we're familiar with some of these guys. But here tonight at Atlanta, 1.5 miles, 4 corners, opened in 1960. It's been repaved, and it's going to be more like a super speedway than the Atlanta that we've come to remember.
That's right, Bradley. You're either going to love this track or you're going to hate this track. People who have been around NASCAR for a while and iRacing for a while, they might not like this one so much. It's a lot like Talladega, a lot like Daytona. The wrecks are massive, the speeds are high, and it's a tricky little racetrack.
And qualifying out here tonight, we had pretty much the entirety of the top 10 all within a tenth of each other, so that puts it in the same style of racing that Daytona will be in. If you're not in the draft, you're done for the day. And I expect us to have probably at least one caution of a big wreck, because we've got a field of over 30 cars here tonight.
Yeah, this track is very difficult to run side by side at. It's only 40 feet wide, about the same width as Charlotte Motor Speedway, but it drives completely different. You can run almost wide open. You'll have to lift for the car in front of you, but it gets tight later in the run, and that leads to incidents often, cars washing up into the high lane.
So we're wrapping up qualifying now. Looks like Kyle Mace is going to start on the pole here today. But let's take you trackside and get your grid. We've got Michael Robinson going to start on the outside. My timing and scoring screen just decided to reset, so let's get back there. John Mullahan is going to start in the second row with James Kaufman in fourth. Wes Wiegand in fifth spot with Brian Kaiser in sixth. Looks like Eric Parks, as they're starting to actually show up on my timing and scoring now. Eric Parks is going to start in seventh. David Sheets in eighth. And then rounding out your top 10, we have Ron Morris Jr. and Kenneth McAuliffe Jr. So 2 juniors there in the top 10.
Brett Bieber is going to start 11th. Bobby Hall Jr. in 12th. What, that's 3 juniors? This is crazy. Chad Ross starts 13th. Nick Gardner, that's a familiar name, in P14. Christopher McCullough in P15. Daniel D. Cunningham, if I could read, in P16. Dakota Shepard starts 17th. Travis Bieber starts 18th. 19th place, we got Stephen Page. And rounding out your top 20 is Barrett Morton.
21st is going to be Daniel Worthington with Justin Branham in 22nd. 23rd, Dustin Reinstedel. I know that name from some other events that I've been covering. Dustin Reinstedel, I believe, is in Thursday Night League that I broadcast for. 24th, Alex Healy with Matthew Fleming in 25th. Mark Vondell in 26th. 27th, Michael Cole. Travis Hawkins in 28th. 29th, Justin Miller. And rounding out 30th is Thomas Hall. We've got 7 more cars. It looks like Sean Kaser not on the grid. 31st, 30th was Thomas Hall. Okay, Todd Mace, CJ Mason in the row number 15. And then we have Adrian Loya, Alan Ronco, Andy Kurtz, Jeremiah Hobbs, and Lucas Lyons. It's a lot of cars. Sean not hitting the grid yet. They're stretching it out a little bit here, but we'll take the track side now and take a look at the pole sitter here. A lot of action going to happen here. I think the big car count is promising for this season, but I don't think you'll see something like this at a road course, and they will have a road course this season.
Yeah, my main concern with the high car count on this kind of racetrack is you get a lot of people trying to win that race. Obviously, that's the goal every week, but a lot of people trying to fit into 2 grooves. It doesn't always work as well as you'd hope.
Pace truck going to pull off this time by. And for 85 laps, these drivers are going to test themselves in the draft. The number 55 of Kyle Mays is going to lead him into turn 1. The 51 of Michael Robinson on the outside. And the OiL Army, you see there on the front of the 25. That's what it's going to be tonight. James Coffin going to take that OiL Army machine, try to lubricate that bumper in front of him and push the outside. Pace truck pulls off, and here we go, ready to go racing for the very first race of the Overtake iRacing League here in Atlanta. 85 laps, and we're underway. Green flag is out. Turn 4, leading that first lap. Kyle Mace is going to get it. Very rare that the guy who starts on the pole is able to lead the first lap of tracks like this, but he's able to hold on to it. The 2x2 pretty deep in the pack here, all the way back to 20th or side by side, and then it single files out a little bit. You can see some of these guys having turbulence trying to get going. The outside line hasn't quite caught up to the 51. They have the 88 of Wes Wiegand trying to make a run. 73 in the 2, down on the bottom, keeping the 55 up front. But across the line, through this quad oval, that's the dangerous part of this racetrack, because guys will accidentally cut that too short and come out wide, and you'll put a guy on the outside into the wall, and then it's just dominoes from there.
Right, there is no out of bounds on that front stretch. You can go all the way down to the grass if you choose. Looks like they're almost jacking in the back.
Trouble in the backstretch back there.
Terrific
about
save.
Like 25th position. Barrett Morton falling down. He's down on the apron now in the 9 car. Looks like he might have been the start of all that. We saw the tail end of it, but they were 3 wide trying to avoid that, and he transitions back onto the racetrack smoothly. He's actually still trying to transition. They're going to cut him a break and let him up here. This group of cars back here from about 30th place, Jeremiah Hobbs, they've lost the draft of that front pack. that's what you kind of worry about starting this far back. We go back up front. The outside line is now making some headway. Wes Wiegand in the 88 was actually at the door of the 2 truck as they came across the quad oval. And you'll see a lot of that tonight. This truck a little less draft-based, more momentum-based in Atlanta. It just doesn't have the power to drive off these corners. So these guys are going to have to keep the speed up and not scrub. There's the 2 going to the outside now. It looks like he's tired of watching the 55 of Mace lead laps, and now the 88 of Wiegand is going to push him by.
That's what's going to be all night is well-timed moves from lane to lane to try and grab the momentum and move forward. The 2 truck just about cleared for the lead. Going to try and get it here into turn 3.
He almost cleared him, but he didn't have the 88 glued to his bumper down the backstretch like he did down the quad, and that's going to cost him the 2 falls back. So, as you were saying, you're going to see a lot of this tonight, and the transitions for the lead, lap after lap. Right now, Wiegand's led every single lap so far, but you're going to see guys get amazing runs, especially with 5 to go. It's whether or not they can go anywhere with it. That's the problem with this racetrack, because there's not really a third line.
Yeah, that's right. When you get a run at this point in the race, you just take your foot off of it and you just let the run die, because you don't want to wreck on lap 7 of 85. When you're at lap 80, like you said, your foot doesn't come off the pedal. You just go. And if that happens to be through the guy in front of you, it's through the guy in front of you. You got to go somewhere. And that's why we end up seeing a lot of crashes at this style of racetrack.
The other amazing issue that we have here is that this track isn't quite as much runoff than the backstretch as Daytona has. So guys tend to hit that inside wall and might come back up on the racetrack, or go down to avoid the wreck on the bottom of the racetrack and end up wrecking themselves because there's not as much room to go down and avoid this. So if it happens on the backstretch, it's horrible. If it happens on the front stretch, it's horrible. In the turns, they're kind of self-cleaning, so it's not quite as bad. But here we're side by side still for the lead, and 30 rows deep. It's just a hornet's nest.
Yeah, we are. It feels like a powder keg right now, especially if we're going to go 3 wide for third. Any wrong movement here, and we have a lot of carnage. But I'm very impressed with everyone here. We had that incident early in the race. Everyone kind of scattered around it and avoided it, but we're some good action right here.
Let's get your ticker up on the screen here and show the list of names. We've got Kyle Mace, John Mollahan, Eric Parks, Wes Wiegand, Brian Kaiser in 5th. That's your top 5. Then Michael Robinson, James Kaufman, Nick Gardner out there on the field. And the number 16. He snuck in. I don't think I remember reading that name. Well, there you go. The 16th Celsius machine, another name I'm familiar with. A little carryover from another league that I broadcast for, VSRL. He's running up there in the 8th spot. Doesn't look like he has any teammates in here tonight, but he is out there. Kudos to the number 16. David Sheets and Christopher McCullough will be your top 10. And nobody has taken over the lead from Kyle Mace. And it looks like no one is really pushing the issue. If we were being fair, can just be sizing them up for later on. Pit stops at this racetrack, another thing that's dangerous. And NASCAR even decided that it was too dangerous. They make the runoff in the backstretch on the entrance to turn 3 because it's so difficult.
Yeah, iRacing doesn't have such a rule. I'm not sure if this league will do that or not, have them enter pit road off of turn 3. But yeah, we'll see what happens here. If they start diving it off turn 4, we might have some situations on our hands coming to pit road.
And a big wreck in the back of the pack. We've got 67 of Michael Cole involved. I can't tell what that other truck is. I think that's Adriana Loya. And the 22.
That was a wrong button. Sorry about that. We're trying.
All good.
We're
Hit the
trying
replay button with 20 seconds.
There
There we go. So a blink here, so that might be part of the issue. Guys disappearing for connection issues. But I think this starts with Loya. Let's go to the 22 if we can.
Oh my.
Oh, that's a huge wreck. That's a huge wreck.
Let's try that one more time here.
All right, so Loya not quite involved. Maybe Justin Miller. Yeah, that's a...
It's a monster. Wow.
Yeah, that's about 29th position back right there.
Wowzers. That was a big one.
Let's go on board here with the 12 of Justin Miller, if we can. He gets the worst of the damage on this incident. Go right front cam on this or nose and see what he sees. He slams through that. It looked like he was almost going to shoot that gap, but it closed quickly.
Yeah, sometimes that's just the way that it is at these super speedways. You see a hole and you just can't get there fast enough.
Like you said, 40 feet of racetrack, it's already pretty close anyway. These guys taking them 3 wide sideways. But caution number 1 on lap 15. Kyle Mace is still in the lead with John Mullahan on the outside now. According to my timing and scoring at least, which could be broken, but he's being scored as the 2 truck on track, number 6 on iRacing.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing too. Always technical issues, right?
Yeah, I love that iRacing implemented the custom number stamps. However, very frustrating from a broadcaster's perspective when you're hunting for a driver when he's mislabeled. That happens quite frequently because guys will have other leagues they race in where they have a specific number and they forget to take their paint off. So it happens. It does happen. Happens more often than it should, but it does happen. And we just roll with the punches here. That's what we do here on V-Speed.
Sure do. Sure do.
73 of Eric Parks and the wood grain on that bed. I don't know how well that'll hold up if they have an accident like they did in the back of the pack.
That is a nice looking ride right there.
I bet it weighs more than the rest of these trucks.
Doesn't drive like it.
Looks like it's made out of solid oak.
Vintage.
So setting up here for the second time tonight. We're going to double back up. And we still have all 36, 37 drivers that started this race here tonight. No one has DNF'd yet. No fast repairs, though. So there is that to take into consideration. A lot of these guys in the back of the field with heavy, heavy damage. I don't know how they're going to be able... I mean, Justin Miller, he's got no front end on this car whatsoever. He's just going to try to nurse it around the racetrack. He'll probably have to come down pit road as soon as the green flag comes out to try to get some more of that repaired. We'll have to wait and see. He's probably praying for another big wreck so he can come down and get some of this fixed. But pace truck pulls off. We're getting ready to go back green. The 55 of Mace, who's led every single lap. Back underway. And watch him 2 wide all the way back to 17th position. They're trying that inside line, getting really organized very quickly. Now the 2 back to the outside. He has the 51 of Michael Robinson giving him a push. The 07 down on the bottom. Brian Kaiser going to fill the hole, and he'll be up into the top 5 for the first time today. I see that 16 hunting back there, and we talk a lot about different leagues that we broadcast for, and it's really neat to see them come together with names that we're familiar with. And, I mean, Nick Gardner doing a great job here tonight without a partner. That's what this track takes, is somebody that's willing to work with you. So he's just going to have to find some people out there that are like-minded individuals. Hopefully he can figure that out within the next 60 laps and be able to bring it home. Up front, 25 down on the bottom, touches the apron just for a brief second there as they go into the backstretch. They're starting to side draft a little more than they were before. It's a little more pinchy in the entrance of the corners, if you will.
This track is kind of just introduces that ability with the way that you have to drive these corners on worn tires. You'll end up kind of driving it in low and working up to the center and then drive back down if you're on the bottom. And it can lead the guy on the top to be a little pinched, a little squished, and the aero affects how these cars come off the corner as well.
The drivers that have kind of fallen off of the pace, we go back here a little bit deeper in the field. We got the damaged vehicles in 30th place. There's Todd Mace back in 30th position. These guys have completely fallen off of the draft. Wes Wiegand actually had a little turbulent moment there, but we're still on the back here of the pack. And then there's this second tandem of trucks somewhere around, I'd say 23rd, 24th. They're just kind of cycling around, sandbagging, if you will. I don't think they're going to force the issue too much trying to get up there with the rest of the pack, because if we have another big crash up front here, they have the opportunity to avoid it if they stay this far back.
And this is what it looks like running where I run, way at the back of the pack. Can't see a darn thing.
That's kind of the downside of being that far back, is once it happens, if you see any tire smoke at all, you're on the brakes, because these trucks come to a stop very quickly when they're on their sides, and it's not something that you can really predict whether they're going to bounce off the wall or another truck's going to get into them. So you're better off to just come to a stop. We saw that earlier with the 12. He didn't stop. He went straight through the pack there, and ends up costing himself probably the rest of this race, because he's got no front end now. Back up to the front though.
He's on
Mace leads another one. Yeah, he's probably having overheating issues, all kinds of problems with that 12 truck. So he's pretty much done for the evening. But the safest place right now on the racetrack, it's where that 55's putting it. On the bottom, on the front. And I say that, and now they door touch down the backstretch.
Got a big shot from 73. I mean, it can be faster to push a guy, but driving deep into the back of him like that's probably not the right move. That can get a car upset more times than not.
You can see there the turbulence across the quad oval. We have a crash back here with Daniel Cutting, or Worthington. No, he's off the track. I'm still trying to find where this was. Alan Naranco maybe involved. I think Kurtz and those guys are too far back here. Let's get deep in the field with the...
There's the 56 and the 76. Just a checkup. Oh, nobody ended up spinning, it looks like. Just down the back here. Not really sure what happened there.
Might have been an admin caution.
Could have been. Great save, whatever it was.
That would have split, and you know, admin caution for that reason. That could have been one of those moments where 12, 13 drivers lost the front of the field because of something like that. And then, you know, they're in an entirely different situation. So kudos to the track steward here tonight. I believe that is... I think it's Dave Farmer out there tonight doing the controls from the admin booth. Said he'd be watching from the background as we come down for pit stops. Mace gonna hit pit road, and I think at this point, if I know they have limited tire sets, but I think I'm going with 4 here.
Agree with that. 25 laps in, 27 laps into this thing. you're going to start to really feel that right front tire wear. I'm not sure what setup they're running tonight, but my guess is that it's probably tough on the right front.
A really close battle off of pit road. Mollahan almost wins and beats Mace out, but I think he did, actually.
He did get him, yeah.
They cycle back there on the timing and scoring, and we got a new leader here on lap 27. It's an excellent stop there for the 2/6 truck.
Might have a speeding penalty on the 55, the way he's falling through the field.
He's dropping back there. Yeah, he was trying to win the race off pit road, and now he's falling. So that's the other side of this race, is a speeding penalty can also ruin your day. And now he's going to be deep in the field, where if we have a big wreck, he's gonna regret that mistake. So truck up here at the front going to get its lap back. I believe that's the number 7 of Lucas Lyons. He's on track to get one of those 6 laps back. I think after we cycle through here, lights are out on the pace truck, and we're getting set to double back up. Over a quarter of the way through it.
So that 7 truck's not too beat up. Get a couple more cautions, be right back in this thing.
I mean, with the new damage model, we've talked about that on V-Speed here quite a few times, but with the new damage model, it's almost completely repairable. You can get this thing back to 90% health pretty easily if you get enough cautions. You know, that 3-4 minutes of repair, you can be back up to speed. They're mechanically usually still really sound. Where back in the day, in the early days of stock car on iRacing, if you brushed the wall, you were pretty much done at tracks like this, because you had no aero, and it would drop RPMs. It was so strange how your truck could be completely mechanically sound, but you had that scuff on your right front fender and the hood was pushed in a little bit. Completely ruined your day. Now that's not the case. These trucks can take a beating compared to what they used to. Sizing back up. Go ahead. Sorry.
So you end in Atlanta, the draft is a great equalizer, and you're able to keep up even with, you know, a damaged race truck. We see it all the time.
Race truck pulls off, and we're back underway for the 3rd time tonight. John Mollahan going to lead him into turn 1. Mace falls all the way back to the 30th position, and he has his work cut out for him as they go into 1. Outside line, turbulent here. 3 wide back there, and a truck into the outside wall. That looked like the 51 of Robinson. They're still trying to avoid him. We're gonna stay green, but he went a little wide there. It looked like some 3 wide in the 3rd row shuffled him out, and he got really loose on the outside up in the marbles, and that allowed about 15, 16 trucks to get by him. Back up to the front, though. Outside line is not organized. You've got the 07 of Brian Kaiser trying to get back up there and reorganize it. He looks like he was going to go to the outside, but that might just be the truck getting loose. And 3 wide, maybe for a brief second behind him there, the 16 of Nick Gardner. Drops down to the bottom now to the inside row. So the top 10 has changed hands. You've got a few new names up here. Bobby Hall Jr., Ron Morrison Jr., or Morris Jr. have worked their way up 7th and 8th on the outside. The tandem of cars that split off, and we have a bigger pack in the back now. It's started somewhere around. We've got Todd Mace in the 54 and 23rd. This they're tandem drivers, and they're not real organized back here. They're just running side by side. And if you're the 55 right now, Kyle Mace, you want these guys to get back organized. You want them to single file out because it's going to make it almost impossible for you to get back up front there. If these guys keep doing what they're doing, they're going to lose the draft. And if we go green, you're going to see everybody from 20th position back probably end up a lap down after pit stops.
Yeah, it looks like the 55 and the 22 are just not on the same page. They get nose to tail for a second, and one goes one way, one goes the other. Not sure if that's overheating on the 55 or if the 22 is just taking a really aggressive, sharp exit out of the corner, which is hard to follow without spinning that guy.
And it could be scrubbing the speed off too, and any push that he gives him, he runs it off. He's got a couple more trucks that have caught up to the back of him, so maybe an opportunity here is the two trucks that were tandem drafting in front of him, the 54 and the 114, they actually catch back up to this pack. So starting to accordion back together a little bit here. And there you can see the 55 has caught the draft. He's going to go to the outside now and try to pick up some positions. Back up here to the front, though. We have another change for the lead. The 73 in the wood grade goes to the bottom and gets in front of the two. Now I'm going to get a big push down the backstretch. Let's see if Parks can lead a lap. Chad Ross on the outside. I think he might get it this time by. He does with a big push from the 04, Christopher McCollum. And he has the opportunity to drop down if he wants it. Not a very good push there for the 73 as they came out of 4. Looked like he might have got it at the wrong time. So approaching halfway now. About 7 laps shy of that. And we've seen about 7-8 times that the lead has changed, and we're not done with that yet. So 73 gets a good shove into 1, gets clear of the 38, but another resurgence. How long can these guys go? I think it's probably about 3 to 4 laps before these things start to overheat.
You ever popped a motor pushing, Bradley?
What's that? Heard of motor pushing.
You ever popped a motor while pushing at Atlanta?
Oh, definitely. Especially when the COT car came out. It was so bad. It was one of the worst ones to get locked on the bumper. I don't know if you had the experience of driving the COT when it first came out, but you had about just under 2 laps at Daytona before that thing was blinking red.
I have never blown a motor from drafting at a car in the fence back there. We all keep it straight. I've definitely got it hot, limited power a little bit, but never did blow it right up.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys that even though it's blinking red, I'm like, we got 0.3 of a second here in this turn, and then I'll back it off, and there it went. Sometimes iRacing was kind of unpredictable with that too, dropping power or dropping the engine. You never really knew what you were going to get when it started flashing red, if you did it enough times. And that's tandem racing. That's the risk you take, especially on a green-white checker. You just get glued to that guy's bumper and you don't lift. If it blows up, it blows up. You just got to pray that it holds together for those additional 500 feet after it starts blinking red.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see what's going on with the 6 truck.
On board here with him in the number 6/2 on the bottom line, pushing Eric Parks. They've cleaned it up a little bit here. Look how turbulent this truck is. Trying to stay in the wake of the 73 and get him a good shot here down the backstretch. He's not quite going to get there to the back bumper as they go into 3, and that allows the 38 to the outside to get some headway. 04 was glued to his bumper, but here they come out of the quad, and this is just dangerous to touch right there. You see what happened. The 73 got loose, and now we're 3 wide, transitioning to the lead. A truck into the outside wall. They lift deep in the field. Still 3 wide on the outside. Another truck into the wall. That's believe the 03 of Hawkins, the 67 up there as well. Michael Cole, he falls all the way back to 31st position. We stay green, but look at another group of trucks that aren't lifting. Gonna drive right on by. How did we not have a caution there, Morgan?
I am shocked. You see that in an official, and it's over. Shut it down, pack it up, truck's on the hook. But here...
Roll the credits.
Yeah, roll the credits, it's over. But here, everyone made it through with a little bit of minor wall contact, but we're all racing. That's pretty incredible stuff. Good job to everyone in this league, in this race right now, for not wadding it up.
The 04 of Christopher McCullough takes over the lead after all that chaos. 73 falls back to about the 5th spot. Brian Kaiser into the top 5 now. Bobby Hall, Ron Morris. We got some cycling going on here for the top 10 again because it's changed hands.
You know who keeps hanging around, though? That 16 truck.
I see that.
In 8th place.
He's been consistently in 8th place since pretty much the green flag. I don't know if he's found a partner just yet, but he has maintained that he can be up here in this top 10. So hopefully other drivers are taking note and they see this opportunity. I think after, if we get to green flag pit stops, I think you'll see that 16 really come to life.
Yeah, we're still in the courting period of this race where you're trying to find a friend, find a partner, and make it to the front. It's not, the pay window isn't open yet, as Clint Boyer would say.
And you've got a lot of teams in here, some big teams, rather, across the board that, you know, it's going to be hard to compete with 6, 7 teammates working together. If they end up in this top 10 and you've only got one guy, good luck passing all 7 of them.
Yeah, this is not the place to be soloing 7 trucks on the inside. That's a tall order.
So still back and forth with 38 of Chad Ross. Christopher McCullough leads that time by John Mullahan in the number 6, who he's been the other consistent driver up here. All the guys that have cycled through, dropped back, had problems. The 2 has been up front this entirety. And I look to see, he's been a great pusher, but I look to see him probably try to take over the lead. Sort of, the pay window you said would open. After those pit stops, I think he starts to push the issue. I think he'd rather be pushed. There's a 73 making some door contact. Almost a third line developed there for just a brief second as they came out of 2. I think that's the ballast of that wood grain on the back.
Surprised those front tires aren't up in the air.
Yeah, it's a load of firewood on a 1500 Chevrolet Silverado. 94 gonna pull up Bobby Hall Jr. He's gonna fill the gap, maybe into the top 5 here momentarily. Alex Healy up into 8th now, 97. Flex Chevrolet. A lot of beautiful trucks out here. Especially fond of that 32 of Brett Bieber. I might be biased, though. I might be biased on Hendrick Motorsport paint schemes.
Yeah, let me guess who your favorite NASCAR driver is.
Currently, I don't think you could, but back in 2011, it was Casey Kane all the way. I was a Terry Labonte fan to start out. Jeff Gordon was, you know, he was winning so much that it was hard to, if you liked Hendrick, it was hard to hate him, right? So we were Gordon fans, and that was commonplace, I think, in the 90s. But ultimately, I was a Terry Labonte fan. Carried over to Casey Kane when he started driving for Everham. Terry retired. I would have to say that NASCAR kind of disappeared for me about the time Casey Kane had some kind of health issue and just couldn't race full length anymore.
It's tough when stars fade due to health reasons. It happens, though. But the NASCAR's still there. It's strong as ever.
it's definitely still there, and I like the virtual aspect of it. It still gives me a touch of that, satisfies that urge to watch a race. Maybe that might be partially why I don't watch the full broadcasts anymore, is because I continuously do it every day now. The dream come true. And I tell you, it's a different aspect of things. You get back out on the track after sitting behind a desk for a few months, Morgan. I'll tell you what, it's hard to knock the rust off sometimes.
Well, it's always rusty on this sim rig. I'm on the hook most of the time, but that's why I'm into broadcasting now, right?
Yeah, we'll come up with whatever we can to justify our addiction to iRacing. So if we can't do it on the track, we'll do it up here in the camera booth and watch these boys as they catch up to some lap traffic. You have the 38 of Chad Ross, who's dropped down to the inside. Outside line completely disorganized here, and I think they might be setting up for what would be the last pit stop of this race. Some of these guys trying to find the inside to try to go down. Here we go. Lap traffic. Doesn't look like it's going to work out. He's going to have to drop down to the apron. I don't know if we're going to go 3 wide here. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't like it. All right, he is going to, okay, he pulled out the parachute there. I think he realized this is not going to work out well. I have 50 cars behind me I need to move.
One thing we saw a little bit there before we caught the lap traffic was the top 3 had started to pull away a little bit. You don't usually see that at Daytona and Talladega, but you can here when the tires wear. There's an interesting little diamond line you can run. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, where you go low in, high in the center, low on exit. It keeps the speed up without hurting the right front or right rear tire. And if the guys behind you aren't doing it, you can creep away ever so slightly. And with 4 cars, gap the rest of the field.
Yeah, it starts to transition back into the old Atlanta. It's not so much that you're lifting off the throttle, but then you're driving a different line to pick up pace, and you're starting to see that here a little bit, I think, because guys on the outside aren't getting quite the run. Outside line is all but given up, and the top 3 have about a half a second. That gap kind of shrinks and grows as they come through the transitions. But yeah, they're slowly creeping away. You see the 07, he's got a good cushion there in front of him. And then the 94, Bobby Hall, he's all by his lonesome. He's going to get a little help here from the 1 of David Sheets, but I don't think that the outside line is going to be able to get back up here now.
They have to stay more organized than that.
Yeah.
Don't call it a comeback, but look at the last car on the top here. See, I see a 55 back into the top 20 after that speeding penalty on the last stop.
And Kyle Mace has worked his way through this traffic, and look at that, right? Slides right in behind the 16 of Nick Gardner. And this might be one of those opportunities where he's back up into the top 5 before we hit the pit road. I think he's on the right track. Coming back from 30th position after getting a speeding penalty. We thought maybe he was going to lose the draft, and now he's well in this thing.
Yeah, all it takes is a little perseverance. Yeah, you can get yourself all the way back in this thing from the back, especially at a Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta. It's a tough place, but it can be rewarding if you do it right.
I never would have thought that we would include Atlanta in the same conversation as Talladega. I never in 100 years thought that this track would have any kind of banking that would sustain that kind of speed, but it seems to be that the new pavement that they used on this racetrack, you can bring any car, any configuration out here and run it wide open.
Yeah, it's weird to say that. It hurts a little bit every time I say it. I prefer old Atlanta over new Atlanta, but that's just me. I always like the slipping and sliding in the race car, right, rather than trying to push up to the guy in front of you without turning him. I usually turn him, but that's what I have to adapt to and figure out. That's what everyone on this track has to figure out too. Although they've done a great job at it. I think we've only had maybe one push not go quite right. Other than that, everything has been smooth and square.
Outside, starting to organize a little bit here. Here comes the pit stops. They are dropping down in turn 4. And the 2 comes down pit road. He's being led in by, I believe, the 38 of, that's the 04 of McCullough. That's leading him down into these pit stalls. So the first round of green flag pit stops. We've had a little bit of everything in here tonight. Big wrecks, tandem drafts. Now green flag pit stops. Let's see if we have another cycle through. To come out of turn 4. Looks like a few guys back there mid-pack, and one car mixes pit road. Wes Wiegand sideways. No, that's the 101 of Dakota Shepherd. 101's completely sideways, rips the nose completely off that truck. We're going to stay green. Well, let's take you back on an instant replay here. He's still trying to get that truck straightened out. When there's a truck in front of him that loses it and misses pit road entirely.
Oh, he got turned.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's...
And you see that other truck in front there that misses pit road. 2 of them miss pit road, but yeah, he gets thrown into the outside wall. I'm surprised that didn't bring out a yellow.
And that was a big hit, and that's one of those... I don't know if he called that on the radio and or hit the pitting in button or what, but somewhere the wires got crossed, and you see it every time we race here. Somebody doesn't quite get the memo. Someone else is pitting, and all of a sudden you're wrecked.
Here comes Barrett. Morton's going to stay out. Nick Gardner, Bobby Hall Jr. coming down pit road. So we got about 5 or 6 trucks that... Oh, Barrett Morton actually hit pit road earlier. I think Morton, Bieber, and Hall will come out here in about mid-pack. I don't know how much this hurt these guys, but Nick Gardner down and away. He's going to take over the point of this group that came down. Let's see.
This was the first group that pitted, the 6 truck in the 04, and there they go past the 94, who was the leader. Coming up to Gardner here right away. There they go past Gardner. I think that means, yeah, they're back to the point here once they cycle out in front of the 9 truck, who's on pit road right now. Looks like we have 3 cars who are leading this race, will be leading this race shortly.
And it's only a matter of time before some other guys accordion back up to this. And if we have a yellow flag pushing, that it's inevitably going to happen. All of this will be nothing. I've seen it time and time again where guys have excellent pit stops. They get out to a 4 or 5 car draft and they just say, see you later. And then with 10 to go, never fails, they have a yellow flag and it means nothing.
This is what it looks like from 4th looking up to the top 3. Just trying like heck to get there. You're sitting there in your seat, bouncing forward and back, trying to get that extra little bit of horsepower, but no avail.
Sitting in the 4th position of Nick Gardner. That's what 2 seconds looks like here at Atlanta. About half a turn through the corner here as he comes off into the backstretch, trying to catch up to Kyle Mace, who, wow, phenomenal job. Went from 30th to 3rd in that stint. Finds his way back behind the guys that were pushing him to lead a lot of laps here tonight. Kudos to the 55 for that comeback. I think it's official now. It's officially a comeback.
I'd say it is. Yeah, comeback's on. 24 laps led early, was 30th, speeding penalty. Back up to 3rd with just under 20 laps to go. I'd call that a comeback.
When you start on the pole at this place, it's so hard to just be like, well, you know, day's over. Now, anybody else that maybe started back in 15th and fell back that far, they might just be content with that at that point, but not Mace. He's going for gold here. We wind down. We've got about 20 laps to go, just under that. And this top 3 starting to lose some ground to a bigger pack, led by the number 9. No, actually, Bobby Hall, the 94, leading this big group of cars. You got Alex Healy, David Sheets. I say big group, nothing compared to what we saw at the start of this race, but it is a bigger group than what we have organized at the front, and it's only going to pick up more trucks as it works its way closer.
And all you're looking for is one more truck than the group in front of you. That's all you can ask for. And just slowly work your way up to that group, merge, combine, and keep moving forward. That's how you're going to get from where are we here, P8 up to the lead, is just by slowly and steadily gaining trucks, just like Bradley said, and working your way up to the lead.
About 15 to go. We're going to take a quick commercial break because you're watching the Overtake iRacing League inaugural Season 1 race here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're going to step away for a moment, and we'll be back uninterrupted for the remainder of Atlanta. There isn't a one-size-fits-all for almost anything in life, so don't settle for a one-size-fits-all setup. Eliminate the frustration in building with an AI-powered personalized toolkit to boost you forward to victory. Optimize your setup and improve your performance over those cookie-cutter builds used by the rest of the pack. Vantage is iRacing.com's first AI setup builder. Save your time and give back to your personal life. Vantage takes any setup for any track and adjusts it specifically to your needs. Choose from over 100 cars for any paved circuit, a custom-tailored experience that's easy to understand and tested to fit any driver style. Subscriptions as low as $8.50 per month. And for a limited time, new members get a 7-day free trial with unlimited access to all Vantage has to offer. Let Orange Speed Vantage free you of the endless loop of testing and get you back on track to victory lane. Visit orangespeedvantage.ai to get started.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
No, gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes
Slack.
Slack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
Welcome back live at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We cut right into 4th position. Nick Gardner has found some friends, about 13 of them to be exact, as this second group of trucks tries to chase down the lead 3. They are 4, almost 5 seconds back, and I can tell you right now, side by side is not what they want to do. They need to single file out. They have the 7, who is 6-7 laps down of Lucas Lyons. But they need some pushers here if they want any chance. They're running out of time, and they know it.
Yeah, it's going to be a tall task with 10 laps to go to gain 5 seconds. I think we can all do that math, about half a second per lap. You're going to be single file and moving. Right now, they're losing time each lap based on being side by side. It's singling out a little bit now, but not quite enough for them to catch the lead pack.
You get back up here, you've got a couple lap trucks behind this top 3 that are helping the draft as well. Looks like the number 11 is in that hunt.
Different 11.
Which I'm a different 11, yeah. No, it's Dustin Reinstedel in the 11. He is being scored a lap down in 22nd position. But they come up here and join this group, and now you've got 5 trucks technically, and they're maintaining this gap of over 5 seconds. They are starting to chip away a little
There's
bit
your
here,
wreck.
but
there's the caution. Big crash
Wiegand's
there.
involved. Wiegand sideways backwards down the backstretch.
And there is the caution. Let's go back and have a look at this. We saw it live, but let's see if we can look at
What
it
did I say?
again.
10 to go? I missed it by 2 laps.
Yeah, you were close. Looks like he hits the
Wiegand
apron,
hits the apron.
misses the
Way
bottom,
to the outside.
and then tries to collect it and gets caught up with the 76, spun around the 97, and self-clears, or not self-clears, the track clears him down to the inside wall. Good job not hitting the wall too hard. I think that truck's probably not too bad. A little bit of right front damage, but he should be just fine.
When this all cycles out, one truck spinning, but now we're going to have 30 trucks grouped back up. And if you thought that was a big wreck, no. We're going to probably see at least a 10 truck wreck. I'm guessing 10 truck wreck here.
Well, let's hope
the next
not.
5 laps.
Let's hope we can keep it pointed in the right direction. We got, what, 5 to go? Pace lights are on.
We haven't intentionally seen 3 wide all night. We're about to see it here.
Yeah, that's always the struggle here, right? Is you get down to a late race restart, and you mentioned it earlier, you only got really 2 grooves. You can't really go 3 wide here. The wall is a lot closer than it looks on TV, and it's easy to get yourself sucked up into that wall. Get a little wall glue, and then you try and yank the truck off the fence, and all of a sudden you're on the bottom, probably on your roof, and tumbling down the backstretch. Been there, done that. So we'll see what happens. Why do all my stories have me crashing? Goodness.
Well, yeah, you've got a lot of. I mean, I'm right there with you. And when it comes to these places, I dread coming to Atlanta. I used to dread going to Daytona and Talladega was the only 2, but now it's Atlanta added to that list, and it's because of this 5 laps to go. You race an entire race, and you find yourself in the right spot, like right there where Nick Gardner is. You find yourself in that position where you can win this race, but other people have other plans, and they don't always, like you said, the wires get crossed, and things don't always work out, and it's beyond your control. And that's what's so frustrating about these styles of tracks is you can't do anything about it. You could be all the way down on the apron, away from all of it, and still get caught up in something. So just a very frustrating way to race. And as far as NASCAR goes, it's the spectator sport. So sitting up here in the booth, it looks amazing. Down there on the track, completely different story.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? Let's have a quick race recap while we're on our last pace lap. So we've got 3 cautions for probably about 9 laps now. 20 lead changes. Just think about that. We've only had 85 laps. Or not even 80 laps. So that's, I mean, and these are lead changes only at the start-finish line. So we've probably had over 100 lead changes, when it comes to going to turn 1 and exiting 2 and all that. Really competitive race here tonight. Been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, that outside line, organizing, reorganizing, cycling, kind of like an eye wall in a hurricane. That's what I would chalk it up to. That's what we're going to see here is the Category 5 Hurricane come to life, as the outside line is definitely going to be 3 wide. I don't think these guys are going to be that courteous to each other. They're going to have to push the issue. You're only going to have 4 opportunities to come across that line in first, and hopefully it's the last one that you do it. 04, Christopher McAuliffe going to lead him in to turn 1. John Mullahan on the outside. Here we go. Green flag is out, and we're back live and racing. Will it be for the final time tonight? Oh, big jump there. We get back up to the front. I don't know if I like this. Take me on an angle here with the 04 and the 55. These guys got such a jump out to the start. And why I don't like it is because this tandem of cars behind them is going to build up a big head of steam and get a huge run. Probably not this lap, but I'd say going into turn 1, they're going to build up that steam and try to take it to the outside.
Yeah, you do not want to be out front by a long ways at Atlanta, especially if you're by yourself. It's not so bad with 2 trucks, but it's a dangerous situation here. Definitely don't want to get freight trained.
See the third line starting to develop back there. Head of steam for the 94. Bobby Hall Jr. He has the 76 of Ron Morris giving him a push. It's starting to build up. The 2 truck doesn't have the momentum that he had earlier. No one's giving him a push. The 16 of Nick Gardner, if he wanted a friend, right there's the 2. He could cut up in front of him right here. 3 laps to go. The 9 of Barrett Morton in 3rd. Gets a little out of shape there as they go into 1.
Got to jump up in front of that 6 right now. We'll go straight to the front for the 9. Oh, we got pass for the lead here. 55. Call it a comeback.
Back to the lead here in the closing laps. 2 laps to go. Coming across for the white flag. Will they make it to the white flag? Morton cuts the nose off. The 56 hits the outside wall. They stay green. Another hit with the wall. Big wreck behind him, but the white flag is out. It's official. The 55 now of Kyle Mace. The 04 of Christopher McCullough. Can they hold off the 9 and the 2 on the outside? The 16 of Gardner to the inside. The 32 all over his back bumper. Nobody has a run. It looks like the 55 of Kyle Mace after the huge comeback and all the laps led starting on the pole. Across the line for your win is Kyle Mace. Zero 4 is going to hold on to 3rd. Barrett Morton on the outside just couldn't get the shove from the 2. And he's not able to get up to the point. They needed a lot more time to get that momentum on the outside, and they're able to hold him off. Kyle Mace, what a comeback. That one little mistake that could have ended anyone's race. Any average person would have probably been done for the day. But Mace, he buckled down. He showed everybody why he started on the pole, why he led so many laps. And now comes home victorious in the very first race of this season for the Overtake iRacing League Truck Series. Congratulations to the 55. We're going to have post-race interviews with your top 3 as we burn it down here with the 55 on the front stretch. We're going to go collect them down on pit road and use the go-kart section of this racetrack as a drift course. You're watching Overtake iRacing League Truck Series on V-Speed. We'll be back right after this.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
The wheel gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes
Slack.
Slack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
Size fits all for almost anything in life. So don't settle for a one-size-fits-all setup. Eliminate the frustration in building with an AI-powered personalized toolkit to boost you forward to victory. Optimize your setup and improve your performance over those cookie-cutter builds used by the rest of the pack. Vantage is iRacing.com's first AI setup builder. Save your time and give back to your personal life. Vantage takes any setup for any track and adjusts it specifically to your needs. Choose from over 100 cars for any paved circuit. A custom-tailored experience that's easy to understand and tested to fit any driver style. Subscriptions as low as $8.50 per month. And for a limited time, new members get a 7-day free trial with unlimited access to all Vantage has to offer. Let Orange Speed Vantage free you of the endless loop of testing and get you back on track to victory lane. Visit orangespeedvantage.ai to get started. Back here live from the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, the new configuration in the inaugural race of the Overtake iRacing League has concluded its 85-lap stint, and it was under green that Kyle Mace was able to finish this race on point. What a comeback, Morgan. We talked about his speeding penalty down pit road. He was trying to win the battle out against the number 2, the number 6 scored on iRacing, John Mollahan, and just a little bit too fast, but falls all the way back to 30th. How about that, passing all those trucks?
Yeah, and not only that, he avoided 2 or 3 different incidents, not necessarily cautions, but just accidents throughout the field where he just always stayed right ahead of it, was able to work his way through it. And he was in line, part of that top 3 group. If this thing went green, he probably could have got it either way.
And we have Christopher McCullough to thank for that, because he shoved the 55 and kept him up there on the point. The 9 of Barrett Morton tried to pass on the outside. He had John Mollahan trying to get him by. But then Mr. Consistency that stayed in the top 10 all night long, he comes home with the top 5, Nick Gardner. So it was a great race, and we showed you how that field was pulled away, the top 3, as we talk through your final race results here. Barrett, Brett Bieber, and Brian Kaiser, some guys that probably didn't have a chance here tonight in the final finish. That caution changed everything, because 4.5 seconds back with less than 10 to go, it didn't look like they were going to be able to catch up in time. But one truck spins out there to the outside wall, and the 88 of Wes Wiegand going to finish 19th all the way back here. But through your top 10, you got Brian Kaiser, Ron Morris Jr., Ton Mace, Alex Healy, the top 10. And we work back to 11th. You have Daniel Worthington, Travis Bieber, Thomas Hall, David Sheets, Daniel Cunningham, James Kaufman, Stephen Page, Alan Doronco, Wes Wiegand, and Bobby Hall Jr.
Got Branham in the 58, finished 21st. Ryan Stedel in the 11 with 22nd. Ross in 23rd. Parks 24th. Robinson in that 51, 25th. Finished a lot better than I would have. Loya 26 in the 22 car. We got McCullough in the 3. Hotkins finished 28th. Hobbs 29th. And Vondell 30th.
Rounding out the rest of your field, Andy Kurtz in the number 5. Lucas Lyons, who never really could get back on the lead lap. He tried. CJ Mason, 33rd. 34th, Dakota Shepard. Justin Miller, 35th. Michael Cole, Matthew Fleming, and Sean Kaiser. We're going to round out that field. I don't think Kaiser ever took the grid here tonight in the number 24. But we're caught up down on pit road. We're going to bring in our first interview of the night, and it's the number 9 of Barrett Morton. And Barrett, third place here tonight. You had the outside line. You just couldn't get a good shove. It looked like the situation there with the 2, he just couldn't get to your rear bumper, and it looked like that was probably the deciding factor tonight. And he's got a muted microphone. Barrett, you got a copy, buddy? They've got permissions in this room. We're going to have to go to another channel. Barrett Morton, I know you weren't able to talk there for a moment. Some permission issues in the broadcasting booth, I do believe, so we'll have to get that sorted out for next week. But Barrett, you come home in third, and all the things that I just said, I probably couldn't repeat it verbatim. So just what do you got? What did you think of tonight?
Yeah, it was a race of survival. I even told the guys, I'm like, hey, if I could get out of here in the top 20, I think it'll be a success, because it's such a long season. I've never had good luck here. I've just had some things fall my way tonight, 2 tire stops, and just kind of staying out of trouble, and just ended up. I wasn't expecting a top 3. I'm pretty happy about it.
Well, and you never expect anything here except for a wreck, and that's usually what I expect to be a part of. We had a couple of those tonight, but you were kind of mid-pack for most of this race and found yourself up in the top 10 when it really counted. How difficult is it to race this new Atlanta configuration?
Honestly, in the trucks, it's not. It's not hard to drive. It's just there's no track position is key here, and it's not entirely easy to pass. It's just everyone's kind of full throttle the whole time. You can't really generate a big run like you can at like Daytona and Talladega. So it was more pit strategy and things like that kind of, and hoping a wreck happens and you're not involved, to kind of break things up and put you in position to get a run at the end.
So setting up here for the inaugural race of the Overtake iRacing League. You come home with a podium. good start to the points. Barrett and Morton, do you have anybody you'd like to shout out for tonight?
Yeah, definitely Coalfield Sales and Service. Um, let's see, Spearcrest Digital, Sergeant Junket, RD Designs, and all my teammates. Unfortunately, Lucas had bad luck. Sean had mechanical issues, and and Dustin seemed to be doing all right. But just we got a big group of people. We're all really helping each other, just try to survive this race. So big shout out to all of them and Jonathan Cofield and Mark Cofield and Caustic, all those guys.
We appreciate your time. Third place, congratulations, and we look forward to next week.
All right, Bradley. Thank you, buddy.
There's your third place finisher. And yeah, we had a little technical glitch there with the microphones, and we had the same problem with you, Morgan, when you first joined in there. So we'll have to figure out what the permissions deal is with that broadcast booth. But here we go with your second place finisher. I think you're caught up down on pit road. It's 04 of Christopher McCullough.
Hey, Christopher, you got a copy?
I got you.
P2. Awesome push to the winner at the end there. What'd you see?
I seen a lot of close racing. That was a blast. A little sketchy, but it was fun. I didn't get hooked up with my teammate Mollahan enough. Got to thank him for all his help tonight. We just had a rough restart, couldn't get hooked up. So my best bet was to push Kyle. He made the right play to move down in front of me, and we were able to get first and second.
Yeah, it looked like a good run there. You started 15th in this race, a little bit of a hornet's nest situation there. How aggressive were you in trying to move up to the front, or what was the position you were trying to ride in for the first 80 laps of this race?
I tried to ride, just to see in the beginning to see how everybody race. This first race of the season. Atlanta's a tough track, especially with the draft and checkups. So I just wanted to see how the field was, how much room was given, and then when I felt comfortable, I tried to go as quick as I could. I wasn't as aggressive as I'd like to be, but I was enough to get to where I needed to be.
Right on. Well, it looked like you certainly got comfortable out there with that second place finish. Anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank my team, McCullough Motorsports. We had a decent showing. We had a couple issues, but we're gonna be strong this year. I got to thank everybody that supports the series, all the drivers. That was a really fun first race. I want to thank V Speed and for y'all broadcasting. Looking forward to looking at the stream tomorrow, and thank my family that supports me.
Right on. Glad to hear. Take it away, Bradley.
Second place finisher here tonight, Christopher McCullough. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Y'all have a good night.
You as well.
And now the final driver that we need to talk to here tonight. We're down in victory lane with Kyle Mace. And Kyle, what a comeback. You had that one mistake there that would probably, like I said, would have ended anyone else's day. But you doubled down and got yourself back to the front in the closing laps. Phenomenal drive.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I thought I gave it away. I didn't really think I gave it away because, these things are so hard to win anyway. But it put me in a bad spot, and then I forgot that we had like 39 cars in the race. And when it told me to pull over, cars just kept driving by as I took that penalty. I thought it was over.
It's kind of like having a flat tire on the interstate at that point.
Yeah, I didn't really think I had the number one pit box, and I didn't think that I could get up to speed to speed right there. But I guess that proved me wrong. So.
Yeah, that short, probably about 400 feet there before that exit cone, it got you. And you were already kind of in a race there with Mollahan driving through your truck. That might have thrown you a little bit, right?
Yeah, it did. I was looking, and he was on top of me. I could just see his nose, and I thought, well, if I could just get that extra little bit. I figured he was speeding and going to slow down, and I didn't have to worry about speeding, but that was not the case.
So you fall back. Let's take it into the next part of the race, because I would put that in the first half. That would sum up the first half. Then you get into a situation where you're 30 cars deep, and you have no help, no partner, and you weave your way through. You fall off the draft, you draft back up, and just pick them one at a time. What's going through your head when you're doing something like that?
Well, I was getting real impatient because, you look down and you got 25 or 30 to go, and then you got 20 to go, and I could get up to about 22nd, and then it's like I'd be in the top and the bottom row would push. And I had my uncle Todd. I had him in front of me. He had a little bit of damage from one of them cautions, so I knew his truck wouldn't suck up like it should. So I got around him. I thought I was going to get some help from him, but we got scattered apart. And then whenever everybody started pitting, everybody was worried, I guess, because it's so hard to pit here. Everybody was worried about getting to the bottom row, and I just stayed up there. I mean, there was like 3 or 4 cars there, and I caught their draft, and I bet I sucked by 15 cars just in the top because they were worried about getting in the bottom. As soon as the hole opened, I think Alex had give me a little bit of a hole right there. As soon as that opened, I got down. I think I was around 12th when we pitted, and then I actually took a gallon less than what I should have, and I didn't have enough fuel if we didn't have that caution. I was about 0.3 short.
Wow. So you got bailed out 3 times here tonight.
Yes, it is my lucky night. Yeah.
Yeah. You should buy a lottery ticket right now.
Yeah.
Kyle, congratulations on the comeback and just a phenomenal drive. Good start to the points as well in the very first race. Inaugural race here at Overtake iRacing League, and you won it.
Yeah. That's something to be proud of.
Well, congratulations. Do you have anybody you'd like to shout out? What we got?
Yeah, I wanna thank my uncle Todd. He we're gonna run this thing together, and I'd like to also give a shout out to Barrett. If it wasn't for Barrett, I don't think I could have passed him. And I hated I had to leave him right there after he got me to him, but it's so hard to pass that I knew if I didn't get down, I'd never. If he got back to me, it'd be over. So I would like to give Barrett a shout out too.
Outside of that, Kyle Mace, your winner here tonight in Atlanta. Congratulations, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
So there it is. 85 laps in the books, and we look forward to the inaugural race of the Xfinity Series tomorrow night. That's our next broadcast here on V-Speed. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, make sure you do so. The Overtake iRacing League is going to have 3 series, all starting this week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 9 p.m. And the Cup Series will be racing at Atlanta as well, and that'll be their first race of the season at 9 p.m. Wednesday. But for everybody at V-Speed that made this possible, Adam Baker, Morgan Cook being in here tonight, pushing all the buttons, and Eddie Smith for being a part of the negotiations and getting me involved here with the Overtake iRacing League. This is Bradley Cooper telling you to have a great week, and we'll see you tomorrow. There isn't a one-size-fits-all for almost anything in life, so don't settle for a one-size-fits-all setup. Eliminate the frustration in building with an AI-powered personalized toolkit to boost you forward to victory. Optimize your setup and improve your performance over those cookie-cutter builds used by the rest of the pack. Vantage is iRacing.com's first AI setup builder. Save your time and give back to your personal life. Vantage takes any setup for any track and adjusts it specifically to your needs. Choose from over 100 cars for any paved circuit. A custom-tailored experience that's easy to understand and tested to fit any driver's style. Subscriptions as low as $8.50 per month. And for a limited time, new members get a 7-day free trial with unlimited access to all Vantage has to offer. Let Orange Speed Vantage free you of the endless loop of testing and get you back on track to victory lane. Visit orangespeedvantage.ai to get started.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
The wheel gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from?
Here
comes
Swack.
Swack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag